Hey everybody, this is Steve Cook for Premier Guitar and PremierGuitar.com. I'm here with the legendary, dare I say legendary, I know, he rolls his eyes, master builder, bass luthier extraordinaire, friend to all bass players all over the world, Mr. Michael Tobias. How are you?
Good, thank you, and you?
It's good, fantastic, thank you, good to see you. So what's new for 09?
Well, we've been trying to branch out a little bit and broaden the line. We have several new basses. This is called a Saratoga. This one is the CRB, and it's an attempt to sort of bring good design quality to an entry-level bass. And they still come with an offset neck, buzz feet and tuning, all the things physically that I can put into my handmade basses, I'm trying to incorporate into a production instrument. And they're great sounding basses, they're lightweight, they feel good. Very impressed with the quality that came out of this factory.
So what sort of options are available on these two models?
Actually, right now, none. There
Okay.
will be some colors. These are the first samples. There'll be a maple or rosewood board, obviously, and there will be some color changes, but they're just straight ahead passive instruments. Pickups that are wound very well with traditional materials, voiced to my specs, standard controls, something that people are used to and can start with and grow into without getting overwhelmed, basically.
Well, a lot of manufacturers, when they get into quote-unquote entry-level instruments, they sort of skimp, and I know that word is not in your vocabulary.
Well, you can get a bass that's maybe a little less money with a lot of bells and whistles, but they all don't work as well, and so having something fancy on your bass that doesn't do a good job is meaningless. It's much better to put the money into neck quality or better neck wood or a better fret scale or better hardware. I mean, you can modify a bass. You know, if it falls apart on you right away, you're spitting in the wind. So the idea was to make something you don't have to fight with.
I've got to ask you about one of the features. Is your 1 fret or your 0 fret?
0 fret.
Why 0 fret?
You know, a 0 fret, excluding the buzz feet and tuning, the 0 fret is more accurate. The stretch of the string at the first fret is much less. You're less out of tune immediately. On production guitars, when they cut a nut, they usually leave a lot of space just to be safe. And when you do that, you play the first fret, you've stretched the string very sharp. So a 0 fret actually forces them to prepare the fretboard more intensely, because you don't have that fudge room by leaving the nut high, and you know, when you have a slight back bow here, you can get away with it and ship the bass because the nut's high. With a 0 fret, you have no room for error.
And what was the inspiration for that? Or was that just trial and error?
No, it's not trial and error. It's actually one of my...
As the slow slide grin comes to his face.
Yeah, you know, it's a thing kind of done in arrogance. Years ago, when guitars were first being mass-produced overseas, they did a 0 fret because they couldn't hire a tech to cut a nut properly. They couldn't afford that when you're making 1,000 guitars a day, right? So they precast nuts, and they were all the same height, and it didn't really matter. And the easiest way to deal with it was a 0 fret, and it was always the mark of a cheap guitar. But when I thought about it, it always played in better tune, even though it was a cheap guitar. It always felt better at the first fret. And when I left Tobias and Gibson, it was like, I got to do this. This is not wrong, you know, and I can do this now because I'm established, and I can say this is a good thing and people will pay attention. And they did, and it works great. And it's a silly thing, but it's like...
But if it works?
It works, you know.
Fantastic.
I'm not a believer in smoke and mirrors. The bass is a very simple thing to build.
Well, and your line is fantastic. All your lines are fantastic, and they have been for years. So
appreciate it.
Thank you so very much for your time. What is the website?
www.mtdbass.com.
Fantastic. And for Premier Guitar, this is Steve Cook signing off. Thank you.